Folks, welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments. Today's conversation is regarding Elephant Graveyard, all the way back from the 93-94 era of Arabian Nights in the early days of Magic the Gathering. So I ended up completing a transaction. By the time you watch this video, it could be a month or two ago, with an individual seller who, I guess he was an investor, and he had bought out Elephant Graveyard and added to his position over the years, probably back between 2017 through 2020 range. So he sold to me, and he probably still made quite a bit of profit compared to the early day prices of probably $20 to $40 a card, and selling to me for probably like $150, $200 a card. Yeah, he probably made quite a bit of money. So this is the transaction was pretty rough. I'm not going to lie to you all. It was not one of the more enjoyable deals and transactions I've done. Me and the individual did not get along the best. The conversation, negotiating got a little rough. I wasn't sure if the deal was really going to go through, but at the end of the day, we ended up completing the deal, and I'm going to talk about my view on this particular card, and we're going to talk about Arabian Nights today, and that's really this whole particular video. So this is just under 100 copies of Elephant Graveyard that this transaction was completed with. My current position is already about 100 copies, so this puts me around 200 copies of Elephant Graveyard. I started buying this card probably about 8 to 10 years ago for around as low as $15 to $20 a card, and as high as about $40, $50 a card, where I backed off, and that was when I built my original position in this card. So when you add today's price and these quantities I added to my collection, it probably brings my cost base. It's probably about $100 a card with adding in and averaging both batches together over the years. Making a decision to buy and own a card like this is really going to be a personal thing, because again, this is an obscure reserve list card that is extremely speculative. This is a card that, just like me, years ago I was interested in because I thought it was, it passes the Rudy test. It's one of these old lands that has absolutely no drawbacks. It literally taps for colorless mana, does not come into play tapped, Rudy's biggest pet peeve. And of course, it actually has the ability to shoot a creature with some sort of regeneration, which is obviously only limited to elephants or mammoths. So obviously, it is a gamble on future, elephant, mammoth type, archetype, graveyard type, manipulation if there's ever going to be powerful commanders or creatures made with these two type of elephants or mammoth classes. But more importantly, buying a card like this, everyone needs to understand something. If you're going to be looking at not just collecting a card or having a play set or getting an Arabian Nights set, that's one thing. But when you buy out a card on a large scale, you can't really go to a big card castle, Snow Kingdom, really awesome stuff incorporated, because remember, buy lists, usually on high end or very old cards, have caps of usually between 4, 8, and sometimes 12 copies. And if you sell that store 4 or 8 copies, after you do that, when they update the buy list and process that order, they will relist it, and they will accept another 4 or 8 copies, but then the price will probably drop 20, 30, 40%. And the more you sell to them, the more you're going to suppress the price down. And you can try to spread out 4 to 8 copies to many different stores over a long period of time, which would be something I would recommend if that's what you want to do. But that's one of the reasons why a lot of people like to just sell me large positions like this, because I'm a sucker for very old cards and things like this. Now, like I said, this transaction ran into a lot of problems, to give you guys a backstory, because like a lot of the conditions of the cards were a lot rougher than I thought. Because on the surface, you look at this card like, wow, this is like near mint and clean. But then I ran into a lot of issues on the auditing of a lot of these cards, where, like, for example, this particular card, you can see has actually a bent corner. Here's another one here. Like, when you look at the card, like, wow, okay, it's a heavy played card. Well, actually, no, this is just missing card. It's a straight up damaged card. So again, a lot of stores won't even handle damaged cards at all, especially if they are missing part of the card stock kind of thing. And then many stores, when you start getting to really heavy played type cards, it gets a little rougher around the edge, especially if you have inking or problems or really heavy wear on things. But again, being the Rudy that I am, very old things like this are very attractive to me. So no matter how worn, or even if it's covered in Sharpie or whatever it is, I still really like things like this, even when they're heavy played, almost into the damage category. So again, it was a rough transaction, but I just want to talk about the overall state of Arabian Nights now, okay? Obviously, it's my favorite Magic set of all time, because it was the one that was too good for me when I was young and couldn't afford it and all that kind of stuff, so it's very special to me now. The market for these cards remains very weak. I'd say we're still between 20 and 40% off the all-time high of around 2021 era card prices. I'm very surprised many times when I see a lot of these stores and the buy list and even what they're selling some of these cards for in 2023, because the consumer confidence in a post-Magic 30 high interest rate, high inflation, and printing to the ground and all this variants and fireside chats and just the whole direction of Magic with secret layers and reprints, it's been very turmoil. It's been very turbulent, not turmoil. It's been very turbulent and it's added a lot of layers of fear and uncertainty to this market. And as of the filming of this, I'm still just not seeing a tremendous amount of money flow into ABU, or the original of Four Horsemen, Arabian Antiquities, Legends, and the Dark sets. I'm just not seeing it. I see people buying what they like and enjoying it, adding to positions, and that's all fine. And that's great, and I'm happy to always see that. But I'm not seeing like a ton of capital like fly into just buying anything they can for old cards, like that kind of frenzy that we saw in 2021 when everybody was getting free tendies and everything was getting bought out. And from 2018 to 2020, it was non-stop reserve list buyouts, and everybody was just going down the list of reserve list cards, and it was just a really bizarre time. And in 2021, everybody stayed at home and really just tried to flip cards and make a lot of money, and a bunch of people entered this market that had no business and no understanding of long-term, what the true price is and where things stabilize, which, I believe we are in a point in mid-2023 that ABU and old cards like this are in a very stable range now. I personally do not see, and again, we'll put some dramatic title on this video and some negative thing, because that's what gets people to click and they want to see what the next drama is. But real talk here, 7 minutes in the video, most people are already gone. So I would say that I think today's prices are pretty close to the true value of these cards. Does that make sense, everybody? I feel today's prices are pretty accurate and pretty telling of the real value, because I don't feel we're in a bubble. I don't feel things are I think we're at a nice equilibrium right now, because it took us 12, 18 months of a bear market, all last year of price declines and everything. Crypto peaked at when did crypto peak? May of 2021, right? Yeah, because that was when Flesh and Blood Monarch, the exact time Monarch released, when people was going crazy and Money Machine was going burr, the exact peak of the market was Flesh and Blood Monarch, just happened to be the release date of May 2021. That was when crypto peaked, all the card price, everything was peaking. Stock market peaked for the techs and all these little speculative things, everything. So we have gone from the second half of 2021, all of 2022, and then I still maintain the Rudy opinion that the market bottomed in November, December of 2022. So we went a solid 18 to 19 months of flat to negative price movements. And so far, the last 6 months in 2023, we have not been negative for the last 6 months, but we haven't really gone up. But things are pretty stable now. It's the first time that I can say that, hey, if I had paid, $200 for that particular elephant graveyard at light played condition, let's say, I feel that over the next couple months, I don't think the price is really going to tank more, and I don't think it's going to go up more. So I feel pretty confident that the prices today are more in line with the supply and demand and what buyers and sellers think they're worth. Now, you can go online and you can see all kinds of inventory, these private MySpace and Silk Road Backpage websites, and everybody's listing all these collections, and a lot of them aren't selling, and you can see all this inventory coming to market. Well, in my opinion, the reason a lot of these things aren't selling is because they're not properly priced. A lot of individuals, especially you'll notice. Does anybody notice at this point? We're 9 minutes in, so everyone's pretty much gone. So let's start getting some good conversation. You ever notice most Rudy collection buying videos are raw cards? Why do you think that is? Because I'm not willing to pay a 400% markup just to have it in a plastic slab from Beckett that some random employee spent 20 seconds looking at. I mean, now if it's a perfect gem PSA 10 Beckett Pristine 10 Quad Plus 6.9, okay, well then that's a different conversation, because it's very difficult and truly rare to get a card in that immaculate of condition. But 99% of cards out there that grade between a 6 and a 9, to me, I treat them as raw. So a lot of times, well, most of the time, that's why when people contact me with a bunch of graded cards, rarely do transactions go forward because they historically want huge premiums that just aren't worth it. I'm not willing to pay, 100 cents on the dollar or 120 cents or 200% because it's a graded compared to raw. It's just not attractive, So again, on this channel, I love to accumulate the cards and unique old items, but like one PSA 10 Elephant Graveyard, if somebody offered it to me for $1,000, as much as I'd want to add it to my PSA 10 collection, I wouldn't buy it. Because again, I'd rather have a playset of Elephant Graveyards versus one like that. That's kind of my thing, So I still think the pricing today is in a good place. Nothing feels like it's in a bubble. Nothing feels that it's overpriced by, 3, 4, 5, 10 times the price. I feel like we're in a nice, calm, normal market that reminds me of like 2018, 2019. And I think that's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But because most of you all listening, most of my supporters, and most people I communicate with on these deals, most people who are buying and selling today, we're not buying and selling before 2019. I genuinely think over 50 to 75% of the people in this market right now, in Magic the Gathering, new, old, singles, vintage, sealed, stepsister, whatever it is, I think most of the people, over 51%, have only been doing this post 2020 COVID. And I don't think they understand that we are in a normal, calmer market where prices don't really go up. You're not going to make a lot of money. But this is a great market to enjoy and collect and go back to that basic principle of collecting an Arabian Nights set. And you don't have to worry that tomorrow the price of Elephant Graveyard is going to be $1,000 a card. I don't think it is. So what? Rudy has a couple hundred copies of Elephant Graveyard. I mean, you're not going to go on eBay after this video and Elephant Graveyard is going to be $1,000 a card. Because if it is, then you're stupid. You shouldn't pay $1,000 a card. Would I like the card to be $1,000? Sure, because I'd make a bunch of free money. But I just don't think it's worth $1,000. I don't think it's going to get there anytime soon. And I think people with that mindset they're going to fail. They're going to lose. They're just going to be left with disappointment and they're going to leave. And I think the perspective is the biggest issue with everybody because a lot of people just don't have the proper perspective. So again, this particular card, I didn't seek it out. I'm not seeking out even though I'm going to label the video some dramatic Rudy seeks out to manipulate the market. I'll put some dramatic title. But, when I go through all these people contacting me with different collections and cards and buyouts and this and that, or investors or stores content, when I look at this stuff, all I do is go through and say, okay, let's see. This guy's got almost 100 Elephant Graveyards. All right, well, let me give him a price range of, $10,000, $15,000, and let's see, based on the condition, and let's see if we can come to a price, and let's do a cool transaction, have some fun. That's literally as boring as my view is, but that's all there really is to it. Something like this, I just try to get a fair price, especially based on condition, because prices swing quick in this stuff, and then just to add it to the Rudy collection because I enjoy it, and that's really about it. And I think people have lost sight of buying and collecting because they enjoy it. Do I think Elephant Graveyard is going to outperform the S&P 500? No! Why the fuck would it outperform the S&P 500? Who makes this shit up? Like, you get these crazy shit online. People start pitching and trying to sell these rich programs and CDs and, Rudy, I'm going to start the new Rudy Patreon. $69 a month and I'll teach you to get rich. What are you talking about? No, it doesn't work that way. But that's, people will twist things and take context and, wiggle around the Legos and they will build something that makes it sound more dramatic than what it is. And it's just really not like that. You should not be buying these type of things unless you really want them or enjoy them. You always need to ask yourself, if I buy this and the price stays the same for the next 3 years, is that going to make you upset or is it going to make you want to sell it? And if the answer is yes, you're going to be upset or you want to sell it because you feel like you wasted time and money, then you have no business doing this. Because if that's really how raw your attitude is, you just need to buy the S&P 500 and wait 10, 20 years. And then just let nature take its course. Either A, the S&P 500 is going to go to zero and the world ends, which then none of it matters anyways, or the S&P 500, like it's done the last 100 years, In another 10 years from now, it'll be a lot higher. That's pretty much the only two possibilities. It's going to go to zero eventually, or it just keeps going in time and, we all march forward. There's really not a lot of complex drama to it. I mean, you could try to time and get an extra little couple percent and, act like Mr. Wall Street, but, that's why I spend time discussing these things. When in reality, I discuss this more than I do the actual card deed. Hey, look, the video is still going. We discuss the perspective more than we do Elephant Graveyard, what Rudy's specking on Elephant Graveyard. Is he doing it because he knows something? Is it a new Eldraine or Ixalan set? Gonna have a new archetype with new elephants and mammoths? No, I don't fucking know. Who cares? But the internet will find a way to make something weird, cool, or funny. And sometimes things are coincidences. Sometimes I do deals, and by the time I'm filming this video, and then by the time you watch it a month or two later, there could be news happening where it may make it sound ironic, or maybe someone posts something on Facebook, and then this video goes live, and someone goes, "Whoa, look at the timing! Rudy must be on this Facebook group." And shit like that cracks me up, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And final thoughts on this video, and we're gonna move on in our day here. But like I said, I still love this stuff. And there's absolutely nothing in this world that can change the feeling and change the look and change what original Magic means, feels, looks, and what I feel it stands for. There is nothing that Hasbro, Chris Cox, Mark Bottomwater, Cynthia Philip Morris, there's nothing these people can do that can impact this. They can reprint it 1,000,000 times. They can sell Elephant Graveyards for 99 cents and Secret Lair 100-pack bricks. But I don't think the original version, the original color palette, the original logos, the original cardstock, the original feel, the original smell of the ink, and the original version is second to none of just, it is iconic. And it's not just Elephant Graveyard. It's anything from this era. Even if it's an unlimited piece of power, an unlimited dual land, it could be a Doppelganger, a Wheel of Fortune, or a Shivan Dragon. But, those original cards can be reprinted to oblivion. But you will never take away that feel of these original cards, no matter what. I'm telling you all. And I feel not enough respect and conversation is happening around that topic. And, hey, make fun of me all you want. Maybe I'm one of the only idiots that's still dumping money into vintage Magic in 2023. Been doing it for 20 years. Maybe I'm one of the idiots that just will never learn my lesson. And you know what? There'll be a documentary on me. The story of this Rudy YouTuber who made millions and lost it all and went to zero. Yeah, hey, at least I got a cool story to tell my kids and grandkids. Have a great day, everybody. Remember, careful on the internet stuff. It can lead you down the wrong path. Make sure you make your own decisions, folks. Beautiful world out there. Have a good day.